Hey guys, it's Hunt for Games, and thank you again for 4,000 subs. We're now up to like over 4,200, which is just insane. Seriously, a lot of you that ask questions have been here since like I had 50. So it's just amazing to see all the amazing support for the channel, for Final Fantasy XI, a game that I've loved for my entire life pretty much. I mean, that's not true, but for so much of my life, and it's great to see all the support for that game and so many other people that enjoyed it as much as I did. So let's get right into these question and answers. There were some really good ones this time, so I'm excited to get right into this. So from Nito17 Hauja, definitely, I'm sorry, dude, that is just awful. My question is, what's going to be your main focus when uploading daily videos? Is it going to be whatever you feel like, or doing like blind walkthroughs like a lot of other streamers? Honestly, great question. So while it's hard to say until I'd actually be able to start doing that, that's something that's so far out of my realm of possibility right now with like with just work and life getting in the way. But I'd have to start doing it, getting a feel for how it flows, how it feels to be able to do daily uploads. I think I'd still focus a lot on my weekly videos like the way I do now. I would never want to give up the videos that I'm doing now. They're a ton of fun to make. I really enjoy doing those like really focused Saturday videos that take a little bit more time. So I wouldn't want to give those up. But outside of that, I'd be able to do more, obviously. I'd be able to try different things. I'd be able to like do those one-off Hunting for Thoughts videos, guides, first impressions for games that maybe aren't really related to the usual kind of games that I do. Like I tried a couple of reviews and impressions a while back, but they don't really do that well. And I get it. They're not really the same kind of content that you're used to finding on Hunting for Games. And on top of that, I just don't have a lot of time to finish all those games to do those guides and reviews. So right now, one of the big problems is I can't spend a lot of time playing the games, and that leaves me out of being able to do those kind of videos for a lot of games. But the guides, how-tos, impressions, those few and far between kind of random stuff, I would love to do more of those. So that's probably what I do. From Corey Merritt, you should celebrate the 4K subs by getting yourself a 4K resolution cam for your channel and make the Q&A in 4K. I mean, it's just too perfect not to. Dude, you're totally right. It's an amazing idea. I would have loved to have been able to do that. I'm a little bit away financially from being able to do the 4K cam, though, but I promise you will be the first to know when I do. That would have been really sweet. I love that kind of connection, multi-tiered connections of stuff, so that's a bummer that we can make that happen for the 4K subs. From Q Eagle Strike Erp. Hey, I got a little personal question, actually. How does Katie feel about you making so many videos and live streams right now? Is she okay with it, or would she rather you spend more time with her and the puppy? Dude, not too personal at all. Katie's been incredibly supportive from day one and is always super understanding about how much time it takes for me to put out these videos every week and do the live stream. I mean, it takes a lot of time, even for the small amount of videos that I do every week. Honestly, the puppy definitely made things a lot harder. I mean, he's gotten easier. Since he's gotten easier, it hasn't been quite as bad. But just the time I used to spend, like right when I got home, working on video stuff, I would get home, immediately record while I still had a ton of energy from work and everything. And then the rest of the night would happen. But Waffles changed that flow because now I got to make sure he's like walked and fed and all that stuff. And yeah, it all just adds up. And all of a sudden you're like, how's it like dinner time? And then you have dinner and then it's like late. But a couple of months ago, I did actually push it a little bit too far. I mean, we were doing 4 videos a week, and 3 of them had significant editing involved, combined with like no weekends at home that I could use to like kind of get ahead of those videos. I wasn't seeing Katie like at all. I would get home, we would have dinner, and then I would go downstairs in the basement to work on videos for the rest of the night, and then I'd come upstairs and we'd go to bed. We both started to feel like that was getting to be a little bit too much. So I dialed it back, and now we're down to 3 videos a week, one of which is usually tied to the Twitch live stream. I mean, all that's been a huge shift. The live stream, it was actually in part trying to be an effort for me to get back to playing games more often, as well as tying in Twitch, which I've been really excited about trying, and seeing how that changed the videos and stuff for YouTube. But that shift of learning a new platform tech-wise and just Twitch-wise of like what goes on in that different kind of cultural environment, she's been so helpful. But finding that balance between work, friends, YouTube, Twitch, and then Katie and Puppy is definitely the hardest aspect of this for sure. There's just not enough hours in the day. I mean, it is very easy to just dig yourself into a hole of like spending as much time as you possibly can, and all of a sudden you remember like I haven't been outside in forever. This is perfect that my hair like went nuts for this question. Let's try and fix that. But yeah, no, she's been incredibly supportive. When it got a little crazy, it's tough for both of us. But because I mean, I miss hanging out with her, and yeah, so she's always been awesome. I could not do this without her support. Next, we got Michael Gogolin. I've been only playing Final Fantasy 14 for a few months, still doing the Realm Reborn main story quest. And I enjoy it, but part of me wants to go back and play Final Fantasy 11 instead. Can you try to sell me this one one way or the other? For some background, I played Final Fantasy 11 over a decade ago for about a year. My friends convinced me to play classic World of Warcraft instead. Plenty of people went that path. Since then, I have contemplated going back, but never convinced myself to actually do it. Honestly, I've really enjoyed both Final Fantasy 11 and 14 for different reasons, obviously. I would say keep going with 14 as long as you're enjoying it. The storyline gets better and better following A Realm Reborn. So if you're enjoying that, I'm sure you'll continue to enjoy Heavensward and Stormblood. Yeah, definitely. Which, in my opinion, A Realm Reborn was a little slow. So keep with it. If you're having a good time, keep with it. Final Fantasy 11 is awesome. Obviously, one of my favorite games ever, and I've loved being back and catching up on storylines and all the content I missed. But it's an old game. It's hard to switch to that from 14 if you've been used to 14 lately. I mean, I can do it only because like I had years and years of 11 kind of the feedback upon, but it's tough. It is tough. I would say keep playing 14 until it starts to feel a little stale. You're getting a little tired of it. You feel like it's a little repetitive. And then maybe try out 11 for a little while then. But yeah, 14 obviously is similar to WoW in that way, so I can see why you'd be drawn to that from your years of World of Warcraft. But yeah, it's a tough call. I would say stick with 14. Enjoy it while it's enjoyable. Don't try to switch it up just because all the hype I'm building for 11. But definitely think about 11 next time 14 is starting to feel a little stale. K11 Keeper, welcome back. How long does it take to go from 117 crap Sparks gear, it's not that crap, to decently well-geared 119 with a full-time job? So I've recently gone through this, sort of. It depends what you mean. I mean, so the first time I did it, it took like a month, but I was really dumb about it. Through Records of Eminence, you can get a full set of upgrades, those chapters, for free 119 gear, free 119 weapons, all from the Records of Eminence, just rewards. From there, the process is a lot easier, and then you could start getting better options for different slots with the gear you've already obtained. I just kind of manhandled my way through the high tier battles and BC and M's with only 117 gear, and it was pretty tough and slow. Don't be like B. Be smarter than me. But I don't know what you mean by good 119 gear, because I'm not even sure the gear I have at 119 is considered good yet. It's just 119. Very few of those pieces do I consider to be like amazing pieces of gear. So it depends what you're looking for. But if you just want a set, definitely follow the Records of Eminence pass. They'll get you some awesome stuff like right away. You could upgrade a full artifact or relic set to 119 from rewards alone, although money gets involved in there a little bit. So from Jake5773, has anyone ever told you that you still look like Jim Carrey? I want to see this question on every single Q&A forever, Jake. You better continue. Jake's back with his usual question. Haven't heard it since the last video, but I'm glad to see it's still spreading around. I appreciate you spending the incredibly limited bandwidth you have at your house with internet to post this. Thank you. I'm sure that slowed down your download speed just to click, comment, and post. From Chad Logston, you looking for people to play with? What server? If so, I've got a sick paladin. Dude, we're on Odin. We've actually got a decent little link show going. People are always on at different stages of leveling and gearing, so I'm not on as often as I'd like to be compared to everybody else, but it does seem like every time I hop on, there's a lot of activity going on. So it's awesome to see that. Obviously, a lot of people on the channel are also on Azura. If you're looking for a different kind of crowd, there's probably a higher population there, but we've got a cool little Odin thing going on. So yeah, hit us up if you end up on the server. Daniel Miller, level your scholar. 119 Afterglow staff is mine as of this week. Dude, congratulations. That thing's amazing. But seriously, stream getting the 4 Archangel Trust fights with or without your guilties. Yeah, dude, I can't wait. They just added the 5th one in this campaign, so that is definitely going to be something I'm working on this week, or not this week, but soon, is getting all those Archangel Trusts. Just finishing up the artifact for this week for Scholar, so I am back on Scholar. It's like level 67. Congrats on the staff again. The next Final Fantasy 11 stream, there is a good chance it'll be the trust fights. So we'll see. Apparently, if you have all 5 trusts out at once now, there's like a special effect, but I'm not sure what that is yet. From Gamer Voice, what do you have your gain set to on your Rode NT USB microphone? I'm having trouble finding a good way to a good gain level for mine. So on the mic itself, there isn't really any way for me to adjust the gain, but wherever I can software-wise, I do try to balance it out to about the mid-range, like in Windows, and then the recording software I'm actually using. I can always normalize the sound later and bring it up from like a lower recording. I just try to avoid peaking with my noise or voice, just kind of flatlining to the cap of what is able to record. One of my favorite parts of the Rode is that I don't actually have to tinker with it as much as like the Blue Yeti, which has a gain on the microphone itself and volume even depending on how you're recording. And it just doesn't have really any of those options besides like how I could change how I could hear the microphone. I'm not like a sound expert by any means, but I could still stand to learn a hell of a lot about improving the quality of my recordings. So yeah, I just try to not like max everything out everywhere. I try to have it like halfway through on every stage so that nowhere am I losing any total bandwidth of sound that I could possibly record, which probably isn't the right way to say that. But anyways, hope that helps. Well, reach out to me if you have any more questions about that. From Wooly C, still hoping for the mobile version of Final Fantasy XI to come out. Would be awesome. Dude, I hope so. Would love to see some of my favorite locales with fresh graphics, if nothing else. If the game is terrible, I would just love to go to Sanctuary of Zeta and see it like fresh. From Gamera, what are your top 5 Final Fantasy XI songs or zone music? And he said, I know you said just one question, but I've been with you since like 200 subs. Do you think your channel would take off like this when you started? I'm going to answer both because you earned it. Seriously, you have been around forever, man. Thank you so much for the incredible and continued support. So, top favorite Final Fantasy XI songs or zone music is super hard because they're all so great for like different reasons. And I still really want to make a video that's all about the music in Final Fantasy XI because I could talk about that for days. Short version, Sanctuary of Zeta is some of the coolest zone music in any game ever. If you don't remember it, actually, if you don't remember any of these, immediately go look them up on YouTube. They're all over. Sanctuary of Zeta music is incredible. Selbina, that music, it used to be my ringtone for a little while. It's got this cool little like Irish theme going on. It was just like one of those great gaming moments of stepping off the boat and you're just like... Anyways, it's just like awesome. Really pumps you up. Any of the 3 starting areas, especially Surta Baruta, they're also just like calm and beautiful. MMORPGs don't get that anymore. That like you don't need to necessarily start off and just explode into action. Final Fantasy XI starts, and the first areas you enter aren't like raw and dangerous. It's bunnies and bees, and they're just like peaceful little starting areas. It's not wartime. It's just like, you know, just the area. It's really peaceful and beautiful, and the music just reflects that perfectly. Recollections, which is just that softer, really pretty song that is used in a lot of cutscenes when it's like a little calmer but still like emotional. I love Recollections, and my all-time favorite that still gives me chills. One last time, it's that one that plays in a lot of the artifact, a lot of the more important cutscenes, and it shifts to the electric guitar. It is mind-blowing. I love it. A favorite song in Final Fantasy XI, bar none. As for your second question, did you ever think your channel would take off like this when you started? To be honest, I was always really overly optimistic, and I was so excited and passionate about doing YouTube. I really thought I'd be actually further along by now. Like I was super, I don't even know the word, naive about how quickly my channel would explode into success because of how much I loved games and loved talking about games. But there's just so much to learn. YouTube is a jungle of hilarity and difficulties, and I just thought I'd be further. But what I never in a million years ever thought was that the foundation of this channel and its success so far would be so tied to Final Fantasy XI. When I originally started, I wouldn't in a million years have ever thought anyone would care to listen to me talk about Final Fantasy XI all the time. So that has been an amazing surprise. And I'm not unhappy with the success and like where we are at 4,000 subs. That's incredible. I still can't believe we're there. Because in the back of my mind, even when I started, I was like, maybe it'll just never go anywhere. I'll just have 0 subs forever. So I can't believe we're where we're at. But I also, like, it was that balance of, like, on the one side, I'm like, I'm going to have 0 subs. And the other side, I'm like, I'm going to get 1 million in, like, 2 weeks. I can do this. It was just weird. I'm a weird guy. I was just really optimistic about it. But, yeah, Final Fantasy XI was a huge surprise. I'm ecstatic to see that on this channel. Great questions, dude. William Fox, here's my question. What made you decide to play Final Fantasy 11, and what was your experience booting up the game for the first time? I had some friends in high school that dabbled in MMORPGs, but the furthest I'd ever gone was something like Diablo 2. I played a lot of Diablo 2, and I loved it. But I hadn't really played that kind of like persistent online game. And then a friend described to me like during class, like right after Final Fantasy 11 it came out, and he was like, he was explaining it to me how he was playing it. And he had this controller, and he was just like, you just play it, and you can log on, and Final Fantasy 11 is a Final Fantasy RPG, but it's like this huge world, and like you can play with friends. And the more he talked about it, the more he described, which was a little bit like rose-colored glasses, but it didn't even matter. The more I was just like hooked on the concept. So I somehow then went out and got the $100, PS2 hard drive and game. I don't even know where I got that. And convinced my parents it was like a worthwhile idea to, I have this like monthly sub that I paid for a while. I just remember booting into Windows for the first time. I mean, the stupid answer is like I spent all night updating. Even then, it was like updates forever. But then I really do remember booting into Windows for the first time, meeting up with my friend who got me started, being given like a level 7 back piece. It was like a cape. And just being like, I'm like, what now? Like, it was just so big. And that excited me so much. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. This is huge. I'd never seen anything like it. It was awesome. And then I just started like looking up everything I could about the game. It was cool. Obviously, I loved it. Dan Rangel. I played Final Fantasy 14. Waffles, is that you back there? Relax, buddy. So, Waffles, buddy, nobody's out there. Come here. Sorry. Dan Rangel, Waffles disagrees with your opinion. Dan Rangel, I played Final Fantasy 14. I tried recently to get back into Final Fantasy 11 after not playing for 10 years. My biggest problem is that the controls are so different. Do you ever get frustrated with the controls or UI of 11 after playing 14? Yes, obviously. All the time. It's really hard to switch between the games because of all the years of the quality of life improvements gaming in general has had since Final Fantasy 11 came out. My biggest miss is the way you can change targets in 14 with the bumpers. If you're holding down the triggers and the bumpers, you can like just quick swap between different targets. Just how much faster you can move gear around in inventory space. I do wish there was a bit of a better macro system like the controller system that 14 has. I do get tired of like speeding along the macro list left and right to get to my macros. But otherwise, I mean, it's all right. I get used to it because I'm so used to 11 after years and years. But 14 definitely has some quality of life stuff I wish 11 had. So from Deku Man, I have no question this time. I just want to congratulate you and hope you keep doing what you're doing. Dude, thank you so much. You've been around forever, so I quick wanted to just throw out a thanks in the video for all the support. I really appreciate it. Thanks, dude. Atherin1337, or Atherin Leet, as those of us in the know. Oh my god, what is going on with my hair? It's crazy. I've been pathetically bad about keeping up with, I'm getting to the answer without even getting to the question. Wait, what level is the puppy who just barked? Oh my god, it would have been so much better if he was barking right during your question. Did it get its sub job? Has it learned any new spells? I have been pathetically bad about keeping up with the pup dates. I remember I was going to do one of those like once a month, and I did like 3 and never touched him again. I would say he's leveled to about like 50. He hasn't eased into like level 75 life yet, and it still has some artifact to obtain. But he's pretty relaxed in his general day-to-day activities, doesn't freak out about the little things anymore, except garage doors if he thinks it's opening. He just barks like crazy. He's probably subbing Fetch Master. He's getting really good at Fetch. His only spell is definitely bark at delivery foods and doors. He's like the quietest dog. Dogs will bark at him. He'll sit there like, are we friends? Like, what's happening? Until a door opens in this house. Then he's like, you're all dead. Intruder. So, yeah. So Tambor76, favorite Van Halen frontman, David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar? Dude, I'm the worst person to ask this. My rock history is pathetically bad. I'm going to go with David Lee Roth for a couple of reasons. Most notably, he's in the Adam Sandler Hanukkah song. And I remember, this is going to sound terrible, but I was like, who the hell is David Lee Roth? And I had to look it up. I was like, wow, I feel bad. But I do feel like it's one of those things you had to like live through to truly appreciate. I always I would always lean to the original instead of, who was introduced later. But a lot of people may feel differently about that. So I'd love to hear what you think. My one friend would be so upset that I don't have a defined answer by that. From Jawwolf18, how would you feel if they released Final Fantasy 11 HD and made you start over, but your frame and storyline completion carried over? Dude, I was so tired and confused one day. I actually answered this in the comment on YouTube, but I'll respond now anyway because you deserve it. Honestly, if it was a true Final Fantasy 11 HD remake, like remastered graphics, remastered animation, beautiful new zones, and like brand spanking new PS4, PC 2017 quality game, I'd play it regardless of how they started me off. They could tell me that like I lost everything, and I would do it because it would just feel so fresh. It would be so cool. I would love to do that. But yeah, it would be funny. I'd love to. It would be amazing. Little dirty 1107. Final Fantasy 11. How did you feel about Final Fantasy 11 when they released Abyssea and the level cap increased after it was level 75 for so long? And the pearl set that you could buy with Kruger and made endgame gear look so worthless that you spent long times of hours to obtain these things. Yeah, dude. To be honest, I was really interested in what the raised level cap would do to the game when they first announced it. When they said they were going to raise it to 99, I was like, wow. All right. Because I'd grown a little tired of 75. The whole game was feeling kind of stale to me. I wasn't that interested anymore. So I was pumped. I was pumped at first, but Abyssea itself, when it came out, never grew on me. I really hated how it destroyed any urge to play in the rest of the game. Literally obliterated leveling because you just have these 18-person parties from 35 to 99 in hours. And the leveling was my favorite aspect of the game, and they just like ruined it. For jobs that I'd really worked on, the gear that I'd worked for years, just suddenly have it just destroyed by stuff at 78 that like you can get with little to no work. That was kind of rough. I took the time, I got around it by enjoying jobs that I never geared up very well at 75, and just suddenly having amazing gear for them. And I was like, oh, well, you know, now I can experience what it would have been like for this job to have like incredible gear. But it was tough for me for jobs that I really loved the gear that I'd worked on. Yeah, it sucked. From Joe Von D. What is your favorite strange sub-job combination? Dude, Dragoon Blue. Hands down. I thought it was so cool that I could like cocoon myself for 50% defense. The Wyvern would heal me when I casted spells if I was under a certain HP amount, but otherwise I was like just a standard DD like soloing stuff. With Refresh, you could just go on for like forever, it seemed. It was just such a cool concept. I loved it. I love Dragoon Mage. I'm so sad that it's like not really useful anymore. From Dex, which of the mission story arcs in Final Fantasy XI is your favorite? As far as expansions go, Promethean was just an awesome storyline wise, so awesome. The areas were badass. Everything was cool about Promethea. But I always myself also remember really enjoying the Dragoon and some of her artifact missions. I don't even really remember the stories. I just remember really enjoying them. I got to go back and look at what they were because I just remember I loved them at the time. So from Rebirth of Sword, if you had played, you had to play one game for the rest of your life, what would it be? If it is Final Fantasy XI, do you have a second pick if it could not play that? Honestly, Final Fantasy XI is the easy answer, but I don't think I could pick it. I've quit the game enough times to know that it probably won't last me as long as I'd hope. Maybe in its prime, if I'd never played it, it would be the one because you could just play it for years. Second pick though, I mean, obviously I don't think I'd pick that one. I could pick like a multiplayer game that adds long-term enjoyment. And MMO would probably be a safe bet because you could just always have so much to do. But honestly, it would probably just be one of those games that I always come back to. Like Ocarina of Time or Final Fantasy IX or Metal Gear Solid or something. Single player games I feel like I'll eventually grow tired of, but I do like play these games year after year, and I always seem to enjoy it. Maybe I'd get like super into EVE Online or something. I don't know. That's a tough question. Super tough. Waffles, what are you doing back there? He's going nuts. Going crazy. From Buddha 1978 Egypt. My question is, if you could go back in time and play Final Fantasy XI when you first started, with the knowledge of what will come, would you have changed anything you did from before? Personally, my leveling strategies, I would skip certain events, certain gear pieces, knowing that they would later plummet in price, wait to get the better options. Maybe I would have leveled other jobs first too. This is an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, the romantic side of me wants to say I'd do everything exactly the same because it was all about the experience, but realistically, I probably would have picked a Mithra starting at 1 instead of a Tartar because it really supported all the jobs I liked way more. I totally would have sold all my expensive gear pieces before the huge drops in prices after like Gil Seller inflation fix. I spent like 12 million on a Scorpion harness that went down to like 200k, and I like still had the Scorpion harness. That I mean, oh well. I would have definitely waited on some pup attachments that dropped pretty significantly in price months later. I spent millions of gil on pup attachments that are just gone. That didn't drop. Yeah, I probably would have played the market if you always knew when things were going to go up and down in like big significant ways, not like tiny little changes. I would have just waited, sold things at certain points. From Rylace? Line God. You personally, did you do your first mat fight naked, believing you can get the gear buffs by re-equipping your gear inside? And which job did you do it as? How many tries did it take? I didn't know this rumor. I went in with all my gear. I had no idea that going in naked was somehow possibly going to help me. But honestly, I did it as summoner. So, like many things in the game, as summoner, it was either stupid easy or just impossible. It all came down to what he 2-houred with once you did your 2-hour, and if it like counted your summoner well. So like if you summon Shiva and he just happened to pop out Ifrit, not great, not good. But if he pops out like Garuda, is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. You had a much better time of it. So I remember running in 2-houring, and on the second or third 2-hour attack, yeah, I won. I won the first try. Whatever he used, I forget what avatar he used. I lucked out, and he picked the wrong one. Summoner was definitely one of the easier fights for sure, and I lucked out. So from Caroline, are you moving to Azura soon? Unfortunately, dude, not in the plans right now. We've got a solid population of people now in Odin, and I'd hate to drop off the face of the earth by leaving. And I've always felt a little sad about the concept of transferring away from Odin. Maybe someday in the future, but for now, Odin's where it's at. It's a bummer Final Fantasy 11 is set up that way, though, that we can't ever interact with other servers. I'm not going to lie. I kind of hope someday that some amazing MMO that everybody that loves Final Fantasy 11 is immediately drawn to comes out with some easy server situation that we could all just like play together in this new game. But that's a pipe dream. I don't know. Yeah, I've got my eyes on some MMOs, but I don't know if that kind of MMO that'll draw every Final Fantasy 11 player ever. Not sure there is ever going to be a game quite like Final Fantasy 11, but we'll see. But yeah, still Odin for now. So from James Martin, Hunt reminds me of Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer for some reason. I'll try to remember to put a little picture of. Look up Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've never heard this one, but that's hilarious. It's just really funny. I'll take it. He's a good looking guy, I guess. He's kind of goofy in the show. I haven't seen Buffy in a long time. And finally, from R5N, tell us the most awful thing you did to someone in Final Fantasy 11 and why you did it. And if you do it again, if you went back in time, if there's no specific incident, if there's a pattern of behavior you now feel bad about. I think I've told most of the worst stories I've done. D2ing a samurai black mage after he refused to change, and we got a replacement. And when the replacement got there, I just kind of warped him away. Stealing the Moldavite earring NM from someone who was fighting it who lost the claim mid-fight. I think they were doing it as like summoner or something, like had to re-summon Carbuncle. Honestly, though, I was pretty mild-mannered when it came to 11. The biggest thing was all's fair in Notorious Monsters. If you were going to die fighting something or lose claim or whatever it is, I would let that happen. I would let you die fighting that Notorious Monster so that I could then claim it afterwards and try to take it. If it was a Notorious Monster, no holds barred. I was going to mess you up to try and take it however possible. But seriously, guys, thank you so much for all the questions. Sorry this one's so late after the 4K announcement video. We tried the whole poll thing, which worked, but it took longer than I thought to like finalize that. I just waited too long. If you haven't, come check out the Twitch live streams on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm trying to squeeze them in elsewhere too. Sometimes some Thursdays or Saturdays or Sundays. But definitely Tuesdays every week. So definitely check it out if you haven't. Seriously, can't wait to see you guys at however we decide to celebrate 5K. Can you believe that? 5,000. The next big thing is 5,000. Halfway to 10,000, a new digit. Decimal place. What was the word? Can't remember. Anyways, seriously, guys, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you at the next big milestone. Thank you so much for the Final Fantasy 11 support. Hope to see most of you in game. Hope to see you guys in some other games as cool new games are coming out. Well, a bunch of cool stuff on the horizon. So we'll see you guys next video, and have a good one. Peace. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, you should totally think about subscribing. I've got videos coming out twice a week, and if you like this one, there's at least a chance you'll like some of the others that are very similar to this, so live dangerously. Let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comments and other videos you'd like to see. And finally, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Huntin for Games to keep up with all the latest stuff. See ya.